Whether you're a first-year eBay seller or you're an old veteran at it, the idea of doing taxes makes us all a little queasy in our stomach. So I want to help you ease your nerves and talk about what you need to know for your eBay taxes and to get you started. If you're new here, I'm Angie Resells. I've been selling on eBay for 25 years. eBay is my full-time job, but prior to doing it full-time, I was an accountant. Now, I will preface this video with I'm not a CPA, nor was I a tax accountant. So if you have specific questions, you want to go to your tax professional to ask them the questions. This is all information from my own personal experience. Okay, so let's get right into it and talk about where we start. And typically that's going to be with the 1099K that you receive from eBay. Now, if you did not receive one this year because you sold under $20,000, that's okay. You're still supposed to pay taxes on the money, so this still applies to you. You can still get all the reports and everything, and next year you're definitely going to need it. So this information is super valuable to help you know what you should be saving up now so that you're prepared for next year. Okay, now when you get that 1099 number, it seems huge. It's everything, right? So our first idea is, do I have to pay taxes on all of that money? And the answer is no. Luckily, eBay keeps track of all of our expenses that come out of eBay. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pull an annual report from eBay. That is going to list all of the shipping you paid on the eBay site, all of your fees, all the sales tax, and even your promoted listings. You're also going to see your store subscriptions in there as well. Once you get all of those numbers out of the gross figure on the 1099, that's going to be your net. That's the number we're going to start with, guys. We have that net number. The biggest thing we need to look at is what can we take off of that big number to lower our tax burden for the year. So that's what I really want to get into today. Now, the first one is the most obvious. It's the items that you purchased to sell. Those are your cost of goods. Now, those cost of goods can either be tracked one of two ways. One is an accrual method, which means you start with an inventory and you end with an inventory, or you can do the cash method, which is what I recommend for most people. The cash method is pretty simple. If you bought it this year, it's expense this year. So if you have a receipt from 2022, when you're doing your taxes this month, it's all going to come off as an expense. So every single thing you bought, even if you haven't sold it yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to add up all of those numbers. Now, one of the biggest things about resellers is a lot of times we buy things for cash. That is fine as long as you keep track. Now, the IRS just wants to know that you have made a good faith effort to keep track of those throughout the whole year. What I do is I just take a notebook just like this, and I will keep track of like the day that I go to yard sales, what it is, generally what I bought and how much I spent. Another thing that you can do is if you withdraw cash on those yard sale days, you can keep those receipts as proof of withdrawing funds for your yard sale purchases. Just something that shows you're tracking throughout the year. And all of those funds can be deducted as well as cost of goods. So you want to keep track as best you can of all of the things that you purchase, even if it's $2, guys, $2, that stuff adds up throughout the year. So you want to keep track of everything you purchase. The next thing that we typically buy as resellers are supplies, office supplies. And that's your poly mailers, tape, any boxes, any bubble wrap, ink, anything like that that's consumable that you're using throughout the course of the year for your business. A lot of times we're buying these things on eBay, on Amazon, places like that. If for some reason you didn't keep your receipts, you can recreate that pretty easily. By going to the store, Amazon keeps copies for years of every purchase that you made. You can print receipts from there. Same with eBay, same with Best Buy, even Walmart if you order online, all of those receipts will be in there. If you don't have them that way, you can also look on your bank statements. That's a great way to pull out receipts. Now, I highly recommend that if you are an eBay reseller, that you get a separate bank account for your eBay business. That way, all of your expenses that you make throughout the year all show up in one account. Now, it doesn't have to be a business account. It just needs to be a separate account. It could still be in just your name, and then you're going to tie your eBay account to that new checking account. If you haven't done that, make sure you do that this year. It's a really good thing to have for your business, to keep your business and your personal money separated. Now, what I do with my account is I typically will transfer money to my personal checking account, just like I would a paycheck. I just transfer that money over and then I use it out of my personal account. That way it keeps my personal and my business separate. Pretty easy, right? The other thing that we typically have as resellers are equipment purchases. So anything you use in business, you can deduct. So the equipment that you're going to purchase would be like a Rollo printer, a new camera, lighting equipment, if you bought a new desk or a desk chair or a filing cabinet. All of those kinds of things are going to be equipment. So equipment to me are items that are non-consumable. Tape, you're going to use it until it's out and then you're going to get another one and reuse it. But your Rollo printer, you're going to have for quite a few years. A new computer you're going to have for a couple years. A cell phone. See what I'm saying? So equipment is going to be a separate charge than your office supplies, which are like the consumable items. The next thing that you can deduct for your taxes would be your internet and your cell phone. Now, not 100% though, guys. No, we can't do it 100%. So basically, you have to figure out what percentage of your internet and your phone you use for personal and what percent you use for business. Personal way I've done it is always to do 50%. Figure half of it is for personal, half of it is for business. But you can determine that on your own what you think your percentage is. I've seen people do it as low as 30% and as much as 75%. So it's just based on your personal knowledge. But you can deduct the whole year for both the internet and the cell phone, whatever percentage you've determined. Another thing you might not think about, but you may have, are dues and subscriptions. So you're probably thinking, I don't have dues or subscriptions, but you might. Some of them include accounting software, Canva, if you have a cross-listing service. There's even a yard sale treasure map that you could have an annual subscription to that as well. All of those things are dues and subscriptions, and you can deduct those. Another area that you can deduct is any kind of advertising. Now, most of us are probably not doing a whole lot of advertising, but you might get business cards or stickers or little thank you cards or thank you notes that you purchase, ribbon that you put on there with your logo or something. Anything like that would be considered advertising, so you want to deduct those as well. The next area is training. Training is going to be anything that you do to help you in your business that you pay a service for. Sometimes there are online courses that other resellers have put out, or there's memberships to groups online that help you improve your business or have information that they share only to their members. Those would be training. So you can actually list anything that you pay like that under your training. One of the biggest deductions you can have as a reseller is your car expense. Now there's two ways to do this. One is going to be the standard mileage deduction, which is most likely the one that I recommend. And the other one is going to be your actual expenses. Now, if you decide to do actual expenses, that is going to include your repairs, your gas, new tires, anytime you have tolls or parking fees, your registration and depreciation on your car, and lease payments. But really, most of the time, I'm going to recommend that you do the standard mileage deduction. How that works is you're going to add all the miles that you drive your vehicle for business. So where can you go to deduct these miles? It's pretty much anywhere that you happen to be going on business. So that could include the post office. Anytime you have to run to the store, you go to Best Buy, you go pick up tape or paper for your printer, whatever you need, it's a round trip. One area that people ask me is, what about if I go to yard sales but I don't buy anything that day? Can I deduct those miles? And the answer is yes, you can. If you are out for business trying to locate goods, that's part of you doing business, so those miles count as well. So don't forget to track your miles. Now, I keep a little notebook in my car and I do the mileage every day, but there are some great programs on your phone that you can use that will track your miles, and then you just go in and say whether that was for business or for pleasure, and it will actually add up all of those numbers for you. Guys, I can deduct a couple $1,000s every single year just on mileage, so do not overlook your mileage deduction. Now for 2022, the tax year that we're paying now, the IRS changed halfway through the year what the mileage deduction is. So you need to keep track of two sets of numbers for 2022. The beginning of the year through June 30th will be 58.5 cents per mile. And then from July 1st to the end of the year, it's 62.5 cents per mile. And that's because we had such a high increase in gas fees last year that they actually upped the mileage amount that you get per mile. So I have been asked, what about meals? Can we deduct when we're out running around our McDonald's meals that we have? And the short answer is probably not. Now here's how it works. If you are just out and about throughout the day and you run and get some food, that's not deductible. But if you meet with another reseller and you're discussing business, you can deduct 50% of that meal, but only when you're having a business meeting. Now, when you're traveling, you can also deduct your meals if your travel is for business. So that's the next thing we're going to touch on is travel. Say you want to go to FLYPCon or Boss Reseller Remix or any of the other convention type things that we have in the reseller community. That is actually something that is for the benefit of your business to improve how you do your business as a reseller. So that travel is deducted. So you can not only do your travel expenses, your hotel, and your meals during that travel as a business expense. Really good. So make sure you are keeping track of all of your receipts. Another area is legal and professional fees. Now, typically we don't have a whole lot of those, but if you do hire a CPA or another tax professional to do your taxes, you can actually deduct those as professional fees on your taxes. So make sure you get a receipt from them. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is your home office deduction. This is something where you can save a lot of money off of your tax expense just by doing a home office deduction. Now, the first thing is you need to know the rules about it. The number one rule is the space needs to be dedicated as business only. So if you're using your living room, but you're also lounging in your living room, then that's not a home office. It needs to be a dedicated spot like this one, and then you can actually deduct it as a home office. Now there's two ways you can do this as well. One is a standard home office deduction. I prefer to do it as a percentage of my whole home, which is a little bit more than that. I can deduct a percentage of all of my utilities, my mortgage interest, my insurance, anything like that that I'm paying for the house. Whatever percentage my home office is, those are deductions off of my taxes. It's a great deduction that you can take. So if you have a home office, make sure you are taking those deductions. The biggest thing I think with taxes, it seems like such a burden, and it really comes down to having control of your paperwork and your numbers. My friends over at My Reseller Genie can help you get control of your numbers if you're not sure where you stand. The thing I love about My Reseller Genie is it's not just a one-size-fits-all accounting system for every industry. It's actually a reselling accounting program made by resellers for resellers. So when you go to set up your numbers, it integrates right with eBay, so you are ready to go It will pull all of your numbers, even from all of last year. It can pull all of your numbers really quickly and get you set up, ready to go. And then you can enter all of your deductions, all the things that you're taking off, all the things that we talked about here. You can deduct those right on there so you get a clear understanding of what your numbers are, which is key. You need to know your numbers in this business to be successful. So I highly recommend you give them a try. They have plans anywhere from $9.99 to $19.99 per month, so you can find something to fit your budget to get control of your numbers and your business. If you want to grow, you definitely need to know where you stand financially, and they can definitely help you out. Now, I do have an offer where you can get 15% off your first month with my code AngieResells, all caps, and you can try them out and see what you think for yourself. So I will be doing a follow-up video to this one so that we can answer specific questions that y'all have. So just leave any questions you have in the comments below, and we'll see about answering all of them in the next video. If you haven't yet, please hit the like button and subscribe for more reselling content. We'll see you next time.